Wraeclast Weekly.
Hello, welcome back to another video. Okay, so the new league is approaching fast, right? So we have lots to talk about, because we got the announcement, we got the patch notes to dissect right after, and we're all twiddling our thumbs until we get the Atlas passive tree, which they said that it's gonna be available before the league starts, so we can plan it ahead of time, so really can't wait for that. Okay, so if you enjoy this content, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video to help me grow here on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks in advance. Cheers. And now you can see the topic list on the screen, what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, let's jump right into it. First off, let's talk about the announcement live stream first. How hype was that? I was hyped. Were you hyped? I bet you were hyped. Everybody was hyped. Everybody and their moms. I mean, it's always everybody and their moms. Why not dads? But everybody was hyped. Okay. The recap part was really good to tie in the whole storylines about, like, you know, we go through phases. It's basically like the wheel is turning. Is this like a reference to Wheel of Time? It's like we're destined to repeat itself. Anyways, Zana's storyline, dang girl. Where's she going? Where she's at? We kind of knew that something's gonna be up with her because we got teased that whole, you know, Kirak being the new map device connoisseur or of sorts, you know. But we did have Chris Wilson in the Q&A with Ziggy D kind of hint that we will be able to discern where Zana's gone from the in-game clues. So I'm thinking probably from the dialogue when we interact with the new NPCs, if they're new NPCs. I mean, Envoy is our friend now. So, and Kirak is like a big baddie now. So maybe when, not baddie, as in like he's the you know, leader of the resistance, I guess. So he will probably know or kind of give us clues where Zana's gone, and then we're just gonna wait for Kitten Cat Noodle to tell us exactly what's happened. But yeah. So as you could see, I was working some transcript from the Q&A because I don't know about you, but it was a lot of information in the live stream, okay? So much information. I'm sure I missed some cues. No, I missed some A's from the Q's, okay? So I'll just put it in a transcript. Hopefully I'll finish it ASAP so you can search for information you're interested in. There was lots of little tidbits there, just like that Zana thing. And other things of how, you know, new currency works. So hopefully I'll finish that soon. You'll be able to find it in the description box here under this video once I'm done. Probably, you know, maybe tomorrow, who knows. And yeah, so another thing from the trailer is that Maven is kind of our friend, or Envoy is kind of our friend, but we still fight her. So she's not over being interested in fighting, I guess. So yeah, can't wait to see where Zana ends up. Maybe she will try to do some extra stuff with closing off Atlas again, but you know, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. A few more days, okay? A few more days. Now, onwards to the Siege of the Atlas reveal itself. New Pinnacle content. There is so much to talk about. I mean, I can't cover this in this video because I want to cover other topics. I might make another video on just Siege of the Atlas, endgame, expansion part stuff about Atlas, but we'll see. So right off the bat, no watchstones, 0 watchstones. Actually, okay, that's a lie. There are 4 watchstones, but they are not basically part of your Atlas progression. You don't have to fiddle with, you know, getting from one area, getting from another area, 1 watchstone, then stacking them together in a different zone to get another watchstone, so on and so forth. No micromanagement. This is all, these new watchstones is only so you can get all the freaking maps to tier 16. That's it. And you do get them from the Pinnacle encounter. So this is like a truly endgame thing. It's not, because to me, mapping is kind of an intermediate step before you get to endgame. So not having to fiddle with these kind of things before you actually get to the end game, he's great. Love it. No watchstones, chef's kiss to that. Also, another thing, there's no regions. Because we don't have watchstones, we don't need regions, right? And what does it mean? Atlas passive tree is together. I mean, smashed into one huge one together, which is amazing. It's great. Lovely. So cool. Love it. I can't wait to play with it. Can't wait for them to show it before the league starts so we can see all the notables. I hope that it wasn't, because they've been teasing the notables. I hope it's not like a trailer for a movie where they show the best bits and then the rest of it is like lackluster. Kind of like Masteries a little bit. But yeah, really happy about the endgame changes. Can't wait to kill the bosses. Also, can't wait to favorite the same map 12 times. Because yes, that's what you can do this time around. You can favorite any single map up to 12 times. And just do that one for the rest of your league. Like, you love your Underground River. Boom. Do that for all the contents. Because all the Atlas passive trees applies to all of the maps. Same with sextants, by the way. You're gonna apply sextants to void stones. They apply to all the maps. Great. Amazing. And speaking of sextants, another change is that you can save sextant modifiers with a new currency item called Surveyor's Compass. What that lets you do is, like, let's say you haven't spec'd into some specific content, you can just save these sextant mods and then spec into this content and run a bunch of them together. Or like a master mission, let's say you don't want to run it just right now. You run it later, you save the sextant mod. Boom! Easy peasy, breezy, beautiful. How great is that? Love it. Love the change. So, those are the Atlas changes in broad strokes, right? Let's move on to Endgame Crafting now. What a doozy. We get a bazillion new currency items, okay? I don't know if it's too many currency items, but we get a bazillion of them, right? One thing we know for sure is that you cannot put these new implicits on already influenced items. So there won't be like, Shaper, Redeemer, Searing Exarch, Eater of Worlds influence smashed together, Bumbo Jumbo. No. You can only apply these on normal rare items. So, the question is, can you apply these influences to something like also fractured items, for example? They didn't disclose that information, but influenced items are a no-go. So, something like min-maxing items in that way, thankfully, is not going to be a thing. Great for me, because I don't like crafting at all, and this crafting seems quite easy to get into, actually. You don't lose anything by applying these orbs. You don't change the base item. You don't change the other influence from the other type. So, like, if you have a Searing Exarch one and you want to apply an Eater of Worlds one, because you can have both of them, you don't change the other one, nor do you change the base item. So, what is going to be great? Heist. Heist better items. Grand heist. Rewards. Yes, you believe. Not the alternate basis one, but like well-rolled rares, basically. Oh man, league starting with that, going for heist, league start, getting these super Gucci bases, and then just smashing to maps, applying these influences. Oh, plan is already, I've already written everything down. So that's gonna be my plan. But yeah, how does the new crafting work? So you get 4 different ranks of orbs. Yes, they are ranks. So the lowest one is the lowest and the highest number is the best one. Not like tiers. It's opposite the tiers, right? So if you have the rank 1 orb, which you get from maps, you can apply that to your item and get rank 1 implicit. And so on and so forth until the rank 4. And that's where Orb of Conflict comes into play. And Orb of Conflict is the new Orb of Conflict is the new currency item you can get from Maven, which means that Maven's orb does not drop from her anymore. Where does it drop? Well, there are some theories, maybe from Cyrus, but it feels like they've made Cyrus completely optional. I mean, completely. Because if you look at how you get Void Stones, for example, one of the encounters you should do for Void Stones is Uber Elder. And Uber Elder was an iteration of endgame content before Cyrus. So Cyrus is not needed for these Void Stones. I'm thinking maybe this orb actually comes from Uber Elder fight. Because it would kind of make sense, because, you know, I mean, in Uber Elder, Shaper and Elder work together, but do they? Do they? Anyway, so yeah, Cyrus, Uber Elder, one of these contents will drop Orb of Dominance, it's called. The old Maven's Orb is called Orb of Dominance. It will drop in some kind of endgame content. And plus, Uber Elder didn't have any kind of big currency drops, and Awakener did. He has Awakening Orb, so yeah, Maven will drop Orb of Conflict that you can use to rank up one of these mods at random from the implicits. If you have both implicits, it will randomly rank one up. And so the best outcome from your implicits is one rank 6, which is the highest one you can get, and one rank 4. Which means that if you were to apply, let's say you have a rank 4, 2 rank 4s, or even not rank 4, whatever, 1 rank 4, and you want to upgrade that, you will have to use Orb of Conflict and hope that it hits on that rank 1 and do that same thing again and hope for the best, right? And then use the other influence type to get a rank 4 mod. So, you know, some currency investment will be required, but these are like super endgame. These rank 5s and 6 are super endgame things that it's basically like min-maxing, like getting tier 1 awakened or mavened, you know, elevated mods on your items, basically. So, you know, not something that everybody will go for, and that's okay, right? It's good to have some kind of aspirational things for crafting also for all these crazy crafting people out there, which I usually shop from. So, you know, great. And on another point, which is kind of like a little bit going back to harvest crafting, with these new influences, we also get Eldritch Chaos Exalt and Annulment Orb. Okay, and they work just like you would imagine Exalts blah 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 work, except that depending on the dominant influence, they will not affect prefixes or suffixes. So this is kind of like a little bit how Harvest worked. Some of the Harvest crafts work, right? Especially like the Annulment Orb one. If you have one suffix, right, and you want to... If you have one suffix and you want to remove it, you would just make that relevant influence dominant and you would guarantee to remove this suffix, right? So it's good for people who go for these kind of min-max machinations for crafting, and, you know, people also use harvest in all kinds of crazy ways, so. But yeah, those orbs, as stated by Chris Wilson from the Q&A, are going to be fairly rare, so it's not like we're gonna get, unless you're like super rich, I suppose, in Trade League, you'll get to use or see that many of them. Just like Sacred Orbs, for example, last league. I mean, they weren't that valuable in the end in the market, but dang were they rare. Alright, so that summarizes crafting. Now let's discuss Archnemesis League mechanic. It's a fairly straightforward one. Granted, I understand, because we have so many other things to do in the game with this new endgame change that I'm not even mad, or I don't really care that the league mechanic is simple, you know, simple-ish, right? You just go around. So how does it work? You go to maps, you find a chained rare monster that is harder, you apply a mod to it that makes him even harder, but gives you rewards. And you can do this up to 4 times, which combines the rewards specific ways depending on the wording on the mods, and makes the monster even harder and harder, but you get the rewards, plus you have a chance to make a recipe with the mods you apply to make a higher tier mod that gives you even more valuable rewards. And depending on how you combine them, because the first mod you apply will affect every subsequent monster then you interact with. So let's say you put a currency reward first, so every subsequent monster will drop this currency reward, plus will be affected by the subsequent mods. So if you have like have lucky chance to drop items, so reroll 3 times and take the best result, it will apply to the previous mods. So there are some tactics involved, and also getting the recipes to upgrade the mods, right? But for the most part, it's just go smash and kill, right? Smash and kill. Save the best ones to then combine later, but just smash and kill. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be intricate. We already have the new crafting system, the new endgame bosses, you know, the new atlas to explore. So many things to do that having a simple-ish league mechanic is not the worst part. It's not the worst thing, right? And to top it all off, it's completely, you know, single player, right? You cannot trade these mods that drop or that you collect, and other people cannot help you complete the recipes. So you can't just smash your best mods 4 times across 4 people. You have to do it all on your own, basically. And that's fine for me, because I won't have this inherent, not stress, you know, but like this thought back in my mind, oh, I don't play that fast. I should better sell these things that other people who run this content super fast will, you know, take better advantage of, and I will get probably more currency out of if I sold it. You know, trade lead life. That's how it be. And instead of using it myself, but this kind of league mechanic takes that, you know, consideration out of equation, because it's all on you. You can choose what you want to do. If you want to try to min-max it, go for it. If you don't, it's all well. You know, we don't know if there's some kind of like super duper rewards from the league mechanic itself, apart from the generic rewards. Like, we don't know if there's like league specific drops. They didn't tease those. I don't think we were teased any specific drop from the league mechanic. So, you know, it's just a simple league mechanic. Kill monsters, get loot, fun times, right? Fun times. And the last thing we're gonna be discussing today is the patch notes, or rather highlights of the patch notes. And when I use highlights, I mean things that stood out to me. They might not necessarily be good things, right? They're just things that were in the patch notes that were interesting, right? And because big part of the patch notes were basically the balance manifesto, they like copy pasted it from balance manifesto in the patch notes almost. There won't be that many things that I will point out, because I mean most interesting bits were already in the balance manifesto, and we discussed it in the last Wraeclast Weekly. If you want to watch it, there will be some kind of notification on the screen. But yeah, so first thing that wasn't disclosed in the balance manifesto was the Void Fletcher Quiver. Because it was mentioned in the balance manifesto, we knew it was up for chopping block, but we didn't think that they're gonna chop off its, you know, hands and feet, basically. I mean, it is a substantial nerf. And, you know, maybe you can consider, well, they kind of buffed the bow skills, right? Or the bow bases. They kind of buffed other things, right? So maybe it kind of equalizes, but not really, not really though. Did they really buff bows that much? Bow skills. Did they really buff them that much? Because from what I can see, the skills didn't get that much of a buff. It was the bases that granted bow skills scale off of. But, you know, is it really gonna be that substantial? Considering that they also got rid of Hydrosphere, I don't know. I don't know if people will still use Void Fletcher at this point. I feel like it's gone and done and dusted. That's it. We're gonna put it under the bed and never look at it again. But Tornado still exists, right? So they nerfed Hydrosphere. It doesn't interact with projectiles as it once did, or area effect, basically, splash damage, as it once did. But Tornado for both skills still exists. Granted, it's not as good. It's not as good as Hydrosphere used to be, but it's still something, right? So, and they buffed it. So I'm wondering if, and I've seen some people talk about it already, I'm wondering if for these bow skills plus the buffs on for bow attacks, and being able to use Tornado will kind of compensate for loss of Hydrosphere. I know I don't usually play bow builds because I completely agreed with the Balanced Manifesto, where they said that to scale it to any kind of relevancy, you have to invest so much. And then I watched Brittany's video as well on the topic, and she basically affirmed that, and I agreed with it. And I don't want to play bows because I feel like they're too weak. Really, there's so many other better builds that will have even comparable clear speed. Because bows usually are like, well, you're squishy, but you go very fast, and you kill things very fast, you have great AoE, you know, projectiles fly everywhere. But I feel like there's other builds that do the same for way less, and, you know, they're tankier, and they scale much easier into endgame. It's not only talking about, like, well, you can play a bow build for low-tier content, but, like, if you can scale it into endgame with, you know, without, I don't know, resorting to just farming day in, day out for exorbitant amounts of money to make it relevant. I don't think the buffs were sufficient to make them relevant, apart from a certain skills, right? Some skills, like, people say explosive arrow is gonna be Gucci. Who knows? I don't play bows because of this reason. Like, I don't play bow skills, apart from some ignite stuff. But I don't know if you can compare ignite with, like, lightning arrow or something. So yeah, I don't know, feels sad. Pretty significant nerf. Alright, another thing that we read in patch notes was that we can still get to Cyrus fight. I mean, it was shown in the reveal trailer. But how you get to Cyrus fight is you have to kill Conquerors, and they will drop fragments, yay! And where are these fragments going to be stored? Well, I'm thinking they're going to replace the spot of Pale Council fragments in Fragment tab. But yeah, they already confirmed that they are getting fragments, we're getting Cyrus fight. But one of the things that they haven't confirmed, and, you know, they teased us the two new tabs, they could also have teased whether, or like teased, I mean, put in patch notes. Because I think, are the tabs in patch notes? Well, no, the new tabs are not in patch notes. I had a quick look-see. They're not in patch notes. But anyways, they could have kind of given us some kind of indication whether all of the new currency items, right? We have more than 10 currency items. Just from the endgame content, we're getting 10 more currency items. Where are they all gonna go? Plus, not even talking about the Kirax scouting reports, right? Because I'm assuming there's a scouting report for any kind of type of content. Because how Kirax works now is that he opens a map for you. It's not like a mission inside the map. He just opens a map for you where you then encounter this content that he gave you, basically. That's what he does. And with a scouting report, you can re-roll his map choices, which guarantees at least one of the maps to have this type of content from the scouting report to be on it, like a Conqueror, a Guardian, whatever, right? And so there are so many there's so many potential contents like Harvest, Blight, blah blah blah, all of these things. Each of them will have a specific scouting report. That's like, what, 10 scouting reports? Like, how many? That's like 10 scouting reports. Where are they all gonna go? Are they gonna go in the map tab? I hope so, because I don't want that stuff to clutter my currency tab, which is already limited, right? Like, all the scouting reports. Then we have the surveyor's compass, right? That's another currency item. Orb of conflict, a new one, on top of Maven's Orb, which has been renamed, right? All of these new currency items, and we didn't really get rid of that many slots, right? We got rid of prophecy, so we got rid of silver coins. We got rid of 2 sextants because the awakened sextant stays, and apparently a elevated sextant also stays. So we only got rid of 2 sextant slots, and we got rid of silver coins. So where is the rest of all this currency going? I'm really hoping that they're finally gonna give currency tab the fragment tab treatment, where they just make sections for the tab. Like, give yourself like an endgame or like influence currency types, right? In another tab, instead of trying to jam everything in the same tab, like Awakener Orb. All of these orbs could go in a specific one, right? And then same thing with scouting reports. They could go in another tab, right? Or like go in the map tab. I don't know, something. Just designated spots, please. Please, GGG. Please. But yeah, overall, patch notes were just, what we mainly expected, right? We got the balance manifesto. It was basically that. There are some bits and bobs where skills are, some skills look more sexy than the others, but that's really up to what preferences you have, what kind of skills you like to play. If you got this far, let me know what your league start's gonna be, because I have already planned out my league start, and it's gonna be awesome. Nice, simple, sturdy, good scaling. That's all I'm gonna say. Bye, bye, bye.